stand, I'll call this meeting to order. Say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Rolling, can we have a roll call vote, please?
No, just a roll call.
Oh, yeah, just have a roll call. We'll vote later.
Mr. Braddock.
Here.
Mrs. Minnie. Here. Mr. Glatzer.
Here.
Mr. Apple.
Here.
Mrs. Turnbull here.
Okay. Somebody like to make a motion to accept our consent agenda for $79,516.84.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll support.
We have a motion and support. Are there any questions or concerns? Hearing none, I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Mrs. Minnie.
Yes.
Mr. Braddock.
Yes.
Mr. Glatzer.
Yes.
Mr. Apple.
Yes?
Mrs. Turnbull, yes.
Okay. Citizens wishing to address the Board of Trustees. Robert Abernathy.
Robert Abernathy, the 8235 State Road. I have 3 ordinance complaint forms here for on tall grasses. One's a family member or next door, one's near my house, and one's by a friend's place. And I also got an email about Lakeport School. The grass there isn't very well maintained, she said. I checked. But we put a lot of money into making an ordinance, going through the attorney, putting it in the paper, and to just sit there and ignore them.
We don't ignore them if we don't know about them.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I
And
also
the
asked
Lakeport-
what, I'm sorry?
Lakeport School is the 4th one, basically?
Yeah, I can't find the lady's email. I have my response, but I don't know.
I'll get hold of it.
I asked her if she would fill out a, I just told her,
She didn't want to do it.
I don't know.
Well,
I didn't hear back from
I'll
her,
get
but-
hold of Doug Nolan.
Okay. Yeah, she just said it
He's the grounds and
was kind of messy.
keeper, so.
You know, you don't have to wait till a meeting to turn them in.
No, I know
They can
that, but
come in.
it wasn't convenient for me to stop
Okay.
by. The other thing, I just wanted to know what was happening with the house, the one called the Raccoon House with the,
On Ferndale Drive,
yeah,
we'll be reporting on that here.
pardon?
We'll be reporting on that here.
Okay,
Yeah, that's gonna be.
that's been there?
The
Okay.
process of-
All right, and then also, I was curious as to why the other people that were complaining about the resort, I guess on Lakeport, were told that they needed to go before the ZBA for ordinances to be upheld on that property. I think she handed in quite a number of ordinances or a copy of them. In the last minutes, and I was here at the meeting, but I didn't quite understand what was going on.
Well, that's your next step, to go to the zoning board of appeals. If she doesn't like what what the board said, or the zoning administrator said.
So, just so that I understand, it isn't something that you bring an ordinance complaint to the board? You bring it to Mike Riley directly?
Well, it would go through the zoning administrator, and then, you're appealing his decision.
Oh, okay, all right,
So is what you're appealing.
okay.
The board has not made a decision, it's the zoning administrator's decision, and that's their next step if they want to,
They appeal, and they appeal at the zoning board of administration?
Yeah. If they don't like what it goes there, then it goes to circuit court.
Oh, okay. And do they have to pay to go there? ZBA?
They do,
Yes, I
yeah.
believe that's.
They do. Yeah, there's a fee. for going
There's a fee for going before them?
Yeah.
But that could be-
And I'm not sure, is it
I
300?
think so.
I think it's $300.
I'd have to
I'm
look
not sure.
that up again. I can't tell you right off the top of my head.
Okay.
We've
So-
got the fee there, I can get it. for you.
No,
I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, there is a fee.
Yeah, I kind of figured it was, but I didn't know if it was for a, okay. So then that decisions aren't made by the board at all then, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you make the ordinance, but the zoning administrator is the one that...
Yeah, and then when they don't like what they hear there, then they can take it to circuit court.
Oh, okay, all right. And then what are they doing at circuit court? Are they suing the board?
I have no idea.
They're asking for a decision
They're asking for a
on the
decision.
decision that was made by the zoning administration, or actually at that point, it's the zoning board of appeals decision that they're asking the court to make a
And who
decision.
represents the zoning board of appeals? Mr. Tuma?
We would have, yeah, we would have our attorney.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, thanks.
Okay. David Kleinstecker.
Yep, Dave Kleinstecker, 3671 Ferndale Drive, regarding the raccoon house. Mike, I did get your email, thank you very much for the response. As you know, Gary and Suzanne Wilson went before the magistrate. You give me a nice response that they pled responsible, guilty. They produced contracts to demolish the east and south portion of the building, repair the rest of the building, making the building habitable. We've got a couple of questions, a bunch of neighbors and I got together, so I got several questions. The court suspended sentence for 6 months. The defendants are required to make constant, continuous progress with no lapses in work. Building must be utilized for single-family residential. Now, questions that go along with that. Number one would be, what does a suspended sentence mean, 6 months? Does that mean that they have to have all work completed by that time?
I'm thinking that they have to go through it. They have to do continuous work, be working on it and bring it up to code and,
Right,
get
what would
it
be-
inhabitable.
All right, what would be, number, I guess, what is defined as constant progress? Maybe I go through the questions, so kind of go through.
Well, I wish Mike Riley was here. He could
Yeah.
answer those questions for you as the zoning administrator. But I'm sure it means that they need to be, and I drove by there the other day and I noticed there's just a trailer sitting there. I noticed no work has started, but.
Correct.
I will discuss that with
All
Mike
right.
and I'll get back
Then
with you with the
yeah,
answer.
just a couple specifics that we had here. And then she has 12 to 15 other properties that have all been, similar type things. And she's just been using different townships and everything else, using different delay maneuvers and everything else on all of those. That was brought up to us by her son, who doesn't report here. And he said it's just something that she does, goes step by step, gets what's done, makes a step, waits until the very last minute, does a little something else and just stretches and on and on. That's why we're kind of wanting
Well,
to find out what constant progress.
I can't guarantee you what she's gonna do, but I know what we're gonna do.
Okay.
We're gonna have Mike keep right on top of this and
All right.
keep it moving along.
Okay. My next question, then, if the timelines aren't met, what's the next step? Does the process start
Well,
over
that
again?
would go, it probably, from the magistrate,
Okay.
it would go to court.
And some of it that the neighbors have, and they just, regarding some of the current conditions of the home, as most of you know, we all testified for at least 28 years that it's been vacant. And some of that, we're really concerned, especially with some of this work that's being done about different health hazards to the neighborhood. For example, it's been missing the second floor windows for many years, it's been exposed to all the elements. Raccoons, mice, possums have been living in there for decades. You can smell that it's loaded with feces. We know by the age and everything else, it's got to be full of lead paint. Another question is, will the proper lead paint remediation be used during the demo and the remodeling? Will they, because they're going to have to gut the inside to do any work, and there's concerns there for the health of the neighborhood. And along those lines too, what about all the mold? Are we going to make sure the proper remediation techniques are used during remodeling? Because right now, on the hot summer days, neighbors on either side have closed their windows because you can smell the mold coming from the house. And then also, concerned a little bit about asbestos, going back to then, most seating plants had asbestos in them. Now, so it's also been suggested to us that maybe one of the townships have ever considered getting what we were told is called administrative warrant to inspect the home before any work begins, just to make sure that it's even safe to go in and do that work and be safe for the neighborhoods. Where it can be tested, where our building inspectors can do the checking for lead paint, do the checking for black mold. And also, we'll be doing the inspections during the gutting to make sure that it is done, remediation is done properly, the state specs. Or is it somebody who suggested that we go to the state, the DEQ, where they can come in, and do the lead paint testing and things like that. But I guess that opens a whole other bailiwick of problems for everybody. So those are our concerns there. And then just regarding, then just a different question later on regarding a different site, and that'd be just on the township website. For the last couple of months, I've tried to look at some of the different ordinances. We got a page, a link to a page called ordinances, and it's blank. Or you can't pull up any ordinances on the website, even though there's a page there. And I think what you were referring to before on the, with last month's minutes, there were some questions that we had about process and everything else. And we've been trying to go on, and every month we try to look and see what the previous month's meetings were, so we can see, what was done there, if there's anything we want to bring up in the current meeting. And like, the most current online minutes are from the April meeting, and that's been consistent. Now, I know
I don't put those in until they're approved,
Yeah,
though.
I know there's something approved, but I even know out here, though, you post them as proposed.
I do post them as proposed.
Out here, but for a lot of us, and everything else, time-wise, and everything else, get off work, it's much easier. If they could be posted even as proposed on the website, so we can do a little history before we research, before we come into the current meeting.
No, I don't know. Is there any reason we can't propose anything?
Well, I don't know.
There's like Mr. Abernathy was talking about, he wanted to, obviously, apparently you came in and saw him, but, I heard about the discussions on the other person with, on the same ordinance and some questions that they had. That apparently there's something in some ordinance, I wanted to find out what it was about if the building isn't occupied or dwelling isn't occupied for X number of months or X number of years, it's considered out of compliance. We're looking at one that we can go back definitely 28 years, most longer, past 30. And was this Fern, was 3695 Ferndale ever found in compliance? Was it condemned at one time? By Mike Wiley, and else, because I know in order to raise or repair had been issued, they had, well, I think one of the times I came in and was told that she was given like a 2-week time period to pull a permit to raise the building. And, that would make us assume that it had been condemned. And
Well, what happened with that deal is that they just never answered
Right.
they never answered the letter.
Yeah.
And then we went on with the other process, and finally haul them into, before the magistrate.
Yeah, and I talked to you before too about, why were permits issued after the fact and things like that, so, like that roofing permit, she did the roof and we knew what was going through, just deny the permit and let her suffer the consequences, because it's got a, fuel. But our question is whether or not that building can even safely be, made whole, like this is a good one to do.
Well, I
So
think
with
it's a
that
matter
matter-
of, could you shed some light on that, Al? As far as,
No, I don't, I thought Tom looked at it.
You talked,
He could, and, I mean, they put a roof on it.
Yeah, then she got the permit afterwards.
Yeah, but they did put a new roof on it, and the guy that put the roof on was from Lexington, I believe, I forget what his name was, but he said the roof and everything was solid on it. Because they tore it off.
Yeah,
So
we watched it.
Bottom boards, I mean,
And I know there's certain areas that he wouldn't go in.
just because the house sits empty, if it's sat empty for 28 years or not, doesn't,
Yeah, but see, that's why our concern is with, with those windows not broken, but missing, snow, rain, wind. I know if anything can just happen in my shed if it gets wet on the inside, no heating plant. no-
there's a lot of stuff in there, I kind of looked
Oh, I know it is.
from Gilbert's place there, I mean, we can't go on property.
I realize that. And that's why one of the neighbors, as well as an attorney, a retired judge, local judge, suggested that, maybe that, Mike Riley or the board or somebody obtained what he referred to as an administrative warrant, which would allow township officials to go in and do an inspection of the interior.
I really,
find that out.
I mean, that is something that we would have to
Yeah.
contact our attorney and talk over with him.
So-
I guess our feeling on that, hopefully, now that they're gonna refer to, they're tearing that wing off of there, they're gonna
Right.
they're gonna, so that's gonna alleviate a lot of at least that section of it, because,
Yeah, but most of all the damage is on the main inside of the house, where that south wall is actually falling down and separated from the house.
yeah.
And it's, you can get in there, Jim's, Gilbert's, his property right next door. Before they went in there 3-4 weeks ago and kind of shoved it up, there was a gap like this wide that it separated from anything, and everything was going in and out of there. You could look inside and see, and, because the driveway is, the neighbor's driveway is, 10 feet away. So it's pretty nasty and rotten in there.
I mean, I was told that they're planning on moving in it before the year's over, so. They sold their place.
Yeah, well, see, the son came down to actually check it out. Like I said, he said he hasn't been there in 25 to 30 years, and he said, there've been some, anywhere that missed it. I mean, again, this just makes it hearsay that they've had some problems. And it's a denial type thing with all these properties, just, go so far, where they buy some time, go so far, buy some time, and then it keeps going, and then, we'd rather not see it.
Yeah,
We want to
yeah,
make sure it's going to be.
I mean, I think our, you gotta give them a chance to
Yeah,
to
no, we
review
realize
it,
that,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
But then we just also want to make sure that it's done safely.
No, and I understand that.
They go in there and got the walls out and loaded with lead paint and mold and everything else, and just start throwing them in dumpsters.
Yeah.
We get a major health hazard for the neighborhood.
Well, I think what we can do with that is sit down with Tom and, see, make sure that it's cleaned out properly and stuff like that, I mean, that's,
Well, I think we should look into this
Can I?
administrative law.
well, yeah, I got it written down here to look into it
May I?
and see what,
I too am concerned somewhat on the fact that a permit issue after somebody goes in and does some work. Just by raising the roof on that house, if, from the state's point of view, MIOSHA and the EPA will come in if someone calls and look at that house. That house, the way that it is on the inside, no one would want that house next to theirs. They wouldn't want it 2 doors down. With raccoon feces in there, with the possibility of lead paint, the possibility of asbestos, and the EPA looks at that, as does MIOSHA, that any house that's built prior to 1980 is going to have those items in it. And you've allowed somebody to go in there and put a roof on it for whatever reason, and issued a permit for them to continue working, when that thing should have been shut down, because they didn't follow the rules.
well,
It's been done before.
that's your opinion.
No, it's
You know,
been
that's
done
your
before. I mean, there's a property on Harris that when I moved into the township, somebody was putting up a pole barn. And it was shut down because it wasn't being done properly.
It was
They
being
weren't-
built on other property.
I understand that, which means that it was against an ordinance.
Right.
Okay, this is the exact same thing. They did not pull a permit, which allows everybody who needs to go in and inspect the things that need to be inspected. I mean, even, there are townships that have the fire marshal go in and take a look at places and see whether or not they are a fire hazard. That house on the inside, to me, from what I can see from the street, looks like a fire hazard. Would you want to go in there if there was a fire?
You're not allowed in there, unless
I'm
they,
not saying-
unless
I'm
they
not
say
saying
you
my
right
fault.
to change any
No,
place.
No, what I'm saying is that the fact of the matter that house is in such bad shape as it is, and you're allowing people to go in there and work, but it doesn't seem that there's anything in place for a pre-inspection is what they're asking for, and an inspection afterwards. You can't just hire a company and let them go in there and not know whether or not they're letting lead paint out into the area.
As a fire chief, that's what the building inspector does when they pull a permit. You bring everything up to code. The contractor has to have his certification for lead stuff. If he finds asbestos, he hires an asbestos company to take care of it. It all goes through your building inspector. Everything's brought up to code. Once it's up to code, and there's steps, all that stuff. You can't bury whatever mold in the walls. You can't. Once you start stripping paint, it's got, all that stuff is done by your building inspector, and will be methodically done as they do things, once they have the building permit.
If they have a contractor.
If they have a
If
contractor.
they get a homeowner's permit,
They can,
That's right. I mean, and I'm aware of that, you know, if they're doing the work
all you gotta
themselves,
do, if there's a contractor over there that starts working on it, you just call the state of Michigan, they'll take care of it. If
Right.
they're not licensed, they will shut them down.
if they're working on
I
it
don't know if it's the
themselves,
EPA, DEQ, or whatever, but.
if they're working on it themselves, then the DEQ can get involved, because at that point, the DEQ is looking at neighbors, saying, okay, these people are doing something that can affect the neighbors. As far as MIOSHA is concerned and the EPA, they're concerned about what's going on with protecting workers that are working in there and what they're doing and making sure they do the right things. But I just question is, you know, we've got a building inspector who obviously gave a building permit. Why? When work's been done and he wasn't called first. Is that how this is going to proceed? Are they going to do work and then we're just going to go, oh, okay, sorry, you know? And then the building inspector goes over and says, oh, well, this was done and there wasn't a permit issue. What happened
Well,
at that point?
hopefully it isn't gonna happen that way, you know.
But what I'm hearing is that there's a history of that happening with this particular situation. And again, that's
They put
hearsay.
they put the
But-
roof on.
Okay. With no
That's-
permit.
That's when I think the neighbors must have called or something, and the town went up there. Most people don't even know that they're supposed to have a permit to put a roof on.
I'm the one that called Tom because I drove by there and they had the shingles sitting on the roof, so.
Yeah.
I was the one that called.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause I called you.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So.
I mean, otherwise, they would put a roof on, if no neighbors would have said anything, I mean, there's a lot of roofs go on, I guarantee you, there's no permits on.
But then we lose money in that, don't we?
Majority of people don't know you have to have a permit.
Well, we can hash this over
The
for a
permit's
long
50
time, but
yeah, permit's $50. for a
I
roof.
think we'll talk to our building inspector and, you know, recommend.
Thanks, Mike, 'cause I
We'll
just want to
recommend
bring up
these
those
things to 'em.
concerns that we as.
No, and I understand where you come from. We'll talk to Tom about it. Let him know that what your concerns are, you
Okay.
know, down the line as far as whether it was safe or whether it's safe to work on it or, you know, and get some other ideas and talk to Mike Riley about it too, you know, as we're gonna go. Right now, they're not working on it at all. I mean, there's nothing going
Right,
on
but
there.
just prior
I
to
was-
the court date, they worked on it feverishly. You know, they got the
Well,
windows
and that might have
boarded
been,
up.
that might have
things
been
like that.
the, you know, and like you say, you know, it's all hearsay about what they do with their other properties. you
Yeah,
know.
I know.
And right now, it's at the magistrate's deal, what's gonna happen with this piece of property.
Okay.
You know, I mean, they made a ruling on what they can do. She comes in and pulls her permits, I mean, gets the right people in there to clean it out. I mean, it isn't something, you know, I know the mold, you know, take the drywall out of there, take the stuff that's moldy out of there and rebuild the house, you know, then that's all well and good, you know, if they're gonna do that.
Yeah, and if they
And
do
we will
it
talk
the
to Tom,
if they do
you know,
it the correct way.
we'll talk to our building inspector and have him keep really a close eye on it and see where we go.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll certainly keep you informed. I mean, I've kept you informed all along
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
what was going on
Yeah,
there, so.
and I, you know,
Yeah.
that I do from the neighbors, and they say, okay, you've been our point man, so here's
Sure,
questions that we
sure.
have, so I can explain it.
You know, and I know most of those people down there.
Yeah,
too,
otherwise,
you know,
there's
so-
only people in here all night.
Yeah, no, I understand. But we'll certainly have Tom look at it and
All right.
keep an eye on it. And we'll talk, Al, we'll talk to him about, you know, what your concerns are.
Yeah.
And we'll tell him what your concerns are.
Yes, especially, you know, just from the, mainly from the safety angles, some things
Yeah.
such as mold, asbestos. I mean, because I do know contractors that are lead paint certified, but they won't.
And we'll look into that
Unless it's
administrative
specified
part
that
too. I'll
they're,
talk to Don, I'll call.
but the contractors, you know,
You know.
you really bump the cost of the demo.
Huh? To whom? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I get that. But we will, we'll certainly,
I appreciate
we'll
that.
certainly keep a close
I
watch.
appreciate that,
What's
Mike.
going on. Anybody else wish to address the board?
Do you want that window open for the receptionist? The slider window?
Is it open?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
No.
It got left that way somehow.
We'll shut it. Okay. Moving on, approval of our agenda. Somebody like to make a motion to approve our agenda, but I would like to add one thing to the agenda, and I put those papers for the adoption of the International Fire Code. You know, Mark's been after us to work on the fire code, so I gave everybody a copy of that fire code. So I would like to add that as D under new business, and then ask for approval of our agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Support.
We have a motion to approve the agenda and support. Are there any questions or any other additions to the agenda? All in favor?
Aye.
Departmental reports. Fire department. Mark?
This is the ISO rating. They just asked what we do for a fire protection code. I asked, I had to see Tom on the job last week, and I said, what do we have for a fire protection code? He said, we don't have one at all. And so that's something to increase to lower our ISO rating. We need to have a fire protection code, which is about, hazard materials, how it's stored, where it's stored, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Mostly commercial stuff. So I checked with the chief at Fort Gratiot. He said they have the International Fire Code is which one they have. They have inspectors. We don't have any inspectors. We've never, since we don't have a code, obviously it just made no sense to pay for inspections. We pay for inspectors to get trained. And so, since Fort Gratiot has it, we could probably hire their inspectors.
Did you get that?
I got that.
Did you get that?
So that's just something, we just need to start with the process. I know to adopt an ordinance, it takes a while, so that's why I mentioned Tom. Tom said he had mentioned it a while ago, that there was not a fire prevention code, so
Yeah.
that's just something we just need to move along with that.
Well, we'll look at that a little later.
Okay.
Yep. Down the line.
Wasn't anything.
Is that it?
Yep.
Now, building department.
We're pretty well covered today.
Okay.
The reports and everything, there's a couple building permits.
Okay. Water department, I'd just like to say that our superintendent is going in for back surgery at the end of the month, so we have Kevin that's going to cover for him. And I've talked to Fort Gratiot for emergency deals. If we have an emergency deal, they're going to send one of their guys over, for shut-offs or emergency shut-offs and stuff like that. So I think we're going to be pretty well covered for his surgery. So I think, was that the 30th?
Yes.
Of June, so
Mhm.
just to let everybody know. The library, Jane?
I was curious, are you going to replace that table that was broken, or are we just going to leave it with the tape that was put on it?
I don't know, Jane, I haven't done anything about
The
it.
one that needed to be welded or weld fixed, or Dusty fixed that, that was all fixed, that table. I don't know what
The
table,
rectangle,
I don't know what table you're talking about.
okay, there have been two different broken tables. There was a round one that was broken that I think would have needed to have been welded.
Yeah.
And then there was a rectangular one where that kind of support thing underneath, and when we looked at it a little while ago, it had just had some very heavy white tape wrapped around.
I haven't heard anything about the I know the one
All of a sudden, the
table,
tables are getting broken, what's going on?
he took those tables over
That
at
was-
welded, the one
Yeah.
that was busted, he had it. So I'll come over tomorrow, and if you show me what
Okay.
that's the first I've heard of it, so.
Okay. And then we get people in every so often who ask us to take them over and show them the hall. I tell them the door isn't locked, from the library, and they can get in there. And they ask me how many people can be in there, and I say to them, you only have 80 chairs, one of which is broken, I think, but you only have 80 chairs. They seem to be under the impression that you can get more people than that in there, but I
think our
don't know
limit
if
is
you give out a
actually
number
60.
to them.
I think
or-
our limit is supposed to be 60, isn't it, Al?
Didn't we get a limit on that? We did get a limit.
We did.
The chief?
I believe it's 60.
Yeah, I researched in case somebody in the
Yeah,
office.
we've got
I
it
think
somewhere
it
there, but I
was-
think it's
it was
60.
Was it 60 or
Because
80?
you guys are gonna post that.
Is there a sign posted in that room?
As to the limit,
Yes.
I don't think so.
No, it's not on that new sign that you put up with them.
That was
Limited.
just for taking care of,
Just a 8.5 by 11.
Right.
Piece of paper, laminate or whatever they have to do, post it.
Oh, we-
That gives any information for it.
Yeah, there isn't anything like that now, and I think people have an impression that they can get more people in there than they can, and there's a finite number of
Yeah.
chairs.
If they're over
Have
150
call us.
on Redneck Warren.
have them give us a call.
Yeah.
And then something that came up a couple of months ago when we kept having the little things with the electricity going out, and this is, one day when it was out at the library and the area around us, like the bank and the market and that kind of thing, the bank used a generator, and at that time, RISA offered the library the use of a generator. Now, our director didn't take them up on that, not being sure how townships would feel about having a generator used in there. I don't know if you have any, should that ever happen to us again and the same offer be made, I don't know if you have any feelings on that one.
Or you even set up for a generator.
No, it would have to be something portable project.
Right.
Pretty expensive. I know what the bank paid, and it's a lot of money, but they can take it to any of their locations. But then you gotta do the work at the location too to be able to receive it, so it's pretty expensive.
I don't think we've ever entertained anything having a generator put in there, have we?
They have to put one in there. She's talking about a portable.
Yeah,
Oh, a portable.
a unit brought,
Lisa
yeah.
would bring in and plug
Yes.
in for them.
Yes.
Do you have to do any special wiring for that out? That's what I thought. I don't think you're all set to just plug
It's not
one in.
set.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, it's
No?
not set up.
Is that
It's
nowhere?
not set up for the generator.
Okay,
It's not set up. Right.
okay, then that's what I need to know. And I had nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Unfinished business, new,
Very nice.
we have no unfinished business. Well, maybe we do,
But,
we just don't know.
Oh.
Okay. New business, Eastern Michigan Radio Club Field Day,
yes,
that's at the park, right?
yes. Yeah, they do that annually. I don't, the sheet isn't in there. Okay, it's the end of June. It isn't in here, is it? Wow. It's the end of June. They use it for 2 days. They don't stay overnight, I don't think. Do they all?
No. Yes, they do, actually.
They actually,
Because
okay.
they're manning their radios all night. I mean,
They're banning the
They're not
radios.
camping,
They're
they're,
not, yeah, they set up
Right.
a couple of campers or tents or something.
We've approved that every year for years
Yeah.
because they do international radio work and could be, have been useful actually in the past in emergencies across the country and other areas, I guess, so, anyway.
I moved to allow them to do that again.
No, it's not
Same as last year.
I'll second it.
Or last 50.
All in favor?
Hi.
All opposed? Motion carries. The Township Park Pavilion and electrical use. Now, we had we never thought of this when it came up, because when we put that in there, we put that in there for the use of the township, but people that want to have picnics there and, that want to have the electricity, for roaster pans or whatever, and of course we keep it shut off. That had come up, and I suggested that, how do you rate it? You can't rate it. I mean, how much electricity they're going to use, maybe charging a flat fee. And the reason to charge a flat fee is because somebody has to go and unlock the box, make sure the breakers are on, and somebody has to go after the shindig's over, if it's 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, and turn it off so we don't have people having boom boxes blaring over there, all the time. So I don't know, I'm anticipating that, my thought, and this is only my thought, is that if they want use the pavilion and they want electricity there, is to charge them a flat rate of either $25. And that's just my opinion, and the floor is certainly open for other opinions. So, and I don't know that it'll ever come up again, but they were going to have a graduation party there, and of course, they wanted roasters, and keep the food warm and stuff like that that they had. So, you know, I said, well, we'll bring it up to the board, see what the board thinks. So, anybody else got any other suggestions? Well, hearing none, I would make a motion then that we charge a flat rate if somebody wants to use the pavilion and needs the power, because, and the fact that somebody has to go, it's either going to be Dusty, or, you know, if Dusty goes, we're going to have to pay him, you know. So,
Twice.
yeah, 2 trips. So, anyway, I'm going to make a motion that we charge a flat rate if somebody wants to use the pavilion and needs the electricity, that we charge them a flat rate of $25.
Is there a sound ordinance for Burchell Township?
Is there a what?
No.
A sound ordinance, like a
Noise?
certain time?
No.
You're not supposed to be playing past that certain time, or no, shouldn't music go? Okay.
I'll second it so we can discuss it.
Right. The thing that they have to know is, go ahead, Al.
I just, what are we charging at the township hall for,
$50 and 50 deposit.
so it's cheap?
Yes.
And then what are we paying to have it inspected?
10.
10?
Right.
And that's what they're all okay, right?
It's worked out really well so far.
I just wonder if something maybe was just out of the same boat as this, so it's all.
The other thing though is we have to make sure that the people are aware that they can't reserve that pavilion. So it's first come, first served.
So how can you charge them for electricity and then they get their.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Well, and
Once they want to camp out at 6 in
that
the
problem
morning.
come up, and the person that asked me, I said, well, you know, if you want to get over there at
6 in the
6
morning.
o'clock in the morning and,
Or whatever.
you know,
They do that too.
oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely they do.
Yeah.
They're sitting there early.
And, you know, that, I think that will be a very rare occasion that somebody's going to want electricity there, really, to tell you the truth. But nonetheless, if we have to turn it on and off and, you know, we have to pay for the electricity, then somebody needs to pay for it. Can't give it away, so. I don't think it's an astronomical fee if they really want electricity there to, you know, it's a $25 fee, you know.
Is that enough if they're actually using the power? They're
Well,
not going to use that much,
are we,
right?
yes, you know.
So you're having somebody turn it on and turn it off, that's 2 $10 trips.
Well, we're gonna find somebody that's gonna do it for $5.
Okay, Mike, all right. I move Mike.
Well, I'm just kidding.
There's already a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a motion.
Okay.
Well,
And I only seconded it so we could discuss it.
yeah, that's fine. The problem is, they can't reserve it.
That's
So-
right.
So how can you charge them for electricity on Thursday, and they
We
go
could, I
over
guess-
Saturday, and I've got it, and Mark, he paid for electricity, but sorry, I'm already here.
Can I speak out of-
Yeah.
Can I speak out of turn? I know I'm supposed to speak when it's your thing. Why can't you rent it and do like you do at Township Hall? Somebody wants it on June 21st, pay $50, and they rent the pavilion for that day, and that includes electricity.
Well,
Mark,
I think
why
it's
can't
added
you
up.
do that? That has never come up. I mean.
Oh,
You know,
yes, it
somebody
has.
wants to
Not to
have
this
Yeah.
board, not
Oh,
while
yes,
I,
it has,
not
Mike.
while I've been
Oh,
there.
yeah.
You know, and they're a resident.
get asked that all the
Why can't
time.
you rent the pavilion like they do the Township Park and everybody else's park?
We actually do get asked that regularly.
You know,
we just
try
say,
it
yeah,
out.
brought it
Same
up.
exact-
Personally, I don't know why. It would be a good idea.
The same
to
exact
let
thing you do
somebody
with Township
reserve
Hall.
it.
It's good
We would,
church.
we
Then
would
how are
need
you
a
gonna
sign
police
there.
it?
Pardon?
How are you gonna police it?
We would need a sign thing there that says this is reserved this day for such and such. How does Marysville Park do it?
Kimball Township does it as well.
How do they do it?
You have to reserve.
Right, but
You,
how do they,
It's
how do
through
they
their
let the public
office.
know that it's been reserved so nobody else comes in to use it?
If you come in and you have a slip that says you have it that day, whoever's there is ousted.
Oh, boy.
Well,
Most people
no.
realize it was-
Well,
Not most, it's
Everybody
not
has
that
their
the
own
township knows ahead of time you have to do it, that's
That's
how.
how you think.
Most,
Ahead of time is like the Birchfield Briefs, we don't put that out till fall. How are you gonna do that? We
Put it
gotta,
on the website, you know.
right.
Put a little sign on, right by the electrical box, reserved on whatever. I mean,
Personally, I think it's a wonderful idea that somebody could, you know, if you're gonna have a party there, or, you know, maybe somebody's gonna have a little wedding there, they want a little reception down there, you know, for, you know, to come in and lease it, I think it's a good
We
idea.
do have a
All they
time
get
limit,
to-
we do have a time limit too, by the way, on the park.
Yeah, Mike, City of Port Huron does the same thing for, because when I was doing weddings at the end, people want their ceremonies in Pine Grove Park, they want to have the flag plaza and everything else, and they go through basically Parks and Recreation or Forestry. They get it was even, they didn't know electricity issues or anybody, any labor, but they just got a sign and everything else, and they would post it on be it the
If they're
pavilion
responsible,
at
post the
Port
sign,
Huron
get a
Park.
sign when they rent.
Rented to Smith family on such and such
Oh,
a
look,
date
it rings.
from time to time, and
That's their.
that always took
They
precedent.
rent it.
We get the
In
comments.
St. Clair County, all of those pavilions out at Goodall's Park,
Oh, they do it down here too, I think.
those are all same, you go, you pay a fee. I used to work with 4-H, now if it's available, but yeah, you pay a fee to use all those different, the buildings, the pavilions. Kimball Township, I know you have to reserve theirs.
Do you know how much they charge for theirs? I know if we only charge 50, Mike, we're gonna have everybody in the world running
Oh, no.
because everybody else is way more expensive.
How it works is if you're Kimball Township, there's two prices. In township residents and out of town.
Right now, we only rent the town hall to residents.
Right, and that's the thing, and that's how you avoid it, because like with there, and you make it something really unrealistic, because I know, and I don't know the exact price, but I know in Marysville, our family reunion was there, and we have people coming from all over the states. And normally, one of the relatives that still lives in Marysville would go and get the permit, and you get an actual permit that says you have rented it on such and such. And, if you get it as in township or in city resident, then you get a specific price. And a lot of the townships, they don't rent to outside, it's a privilege to have a park.
Yeah.
Now, like in Goodall's County and stuff like that, like everything out there is rented. I think if they could figure out how to rent the grass out at Goodall's County
would.
Park, they
That's
would,
how they
trust
support
me.
it.
And it's very, it can be very costly. Like the 4-H has to rent the park to use it. It's not
Right.
the 4-H's
Yeah, I
and
know.
stuff
It's
like
costly,
that.
too.
So
They have employees there.
Well,
The farm
at the
museum
moment,
has to rent
we have
it,
a motion
everything.
on the floor now. I guess
You want to rescind your motion and start over?
maybe, yeah, I'll rescind my motion for right now. Cindy?
Yeah.
Maybe rescind your second. Okay, now, the new subject at hand would be the discussion about renting the pavilion. How does the board feel?
I say, let's look into it and make some decisions next month. Check with Fort Gratiot, they rent out,
Well, I think the county rents out their pavilions, don't they, down at the...
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. For a big
The county
dollar.
is through Parks and Rec, Kimball Township is through
Yeah.
Kimball Township Hall, Port Huron Township is Port Huron Township Hall.
They're just raising the ones at the Fort Gratiot
Well,
Park.
why don't we table it? We'll get
That probably is a
some
good
more
idea.
information as to what people are charging, and we'll discuss it at the next meeting.
It sounds like a good idea, be a little more organized. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
Okay,
do that.
It's fine.
Excuse me, along that same line, for the people that are using volleyball, they have a volleyball sessions on Tuesday nights. They have two setups for volleyball there. I'm going to suggest that you don't charge them for doing that, but let them be reserved for that they can do that for whatever their season is going to be.
We actually
You're
have in
just
the
talking
past
about the
let them
pavilion,
know that.
though, right? You're
What's-
just talking about-
We're just talking about...
We're just talking about the
Just
pavilion.
the pavilion.
Yeah, but I mean,
Not the park.
people are going to be saying different things,
Well, the only thing they're renting,
Is the
if and when we decide to do that, it's strictly the pavilion.
Okay.
It's not the park.
The park's open. to
The park's open, it's a public park, it's open to everybody. I lost my train of thought here.
Well, you got-
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna, if
Do
it's
that
all
in
right,
closed session.
we'll do that, drop that down to the end.
Right.
Number C, we'll drop that down to the end and move on to the adoption of the International Fire Code. Mark, I got that information, from Fort Gratiot, and the nice thing about the fire code, if you adopt the international fire code, is you never have to, you never have to change it. That's it, you follow their
They just
guidelines. If they
update
change
whenever
that,
they do an update.
yeah, you just do it, you just update it again and follow along,
And I
so.
think it's the same as the state's code is the same,
I don't know how the rest of the board feels about this. This is new too, and we don't have to make a decision on it tonight, but, to get it started, because,
When you adopt that, it automatically brings businesses into sprinkler systems, doesn't it? I mean, they're not existing, but anything new.
do one with.
So we have-
What
But
buildings?
it's square
Residential
footage.
too?
But it's square footage,
It's based on
it's
square
over,
footage.
Yeah, but I mean, that all needs to be looked at before we.
Is that homes too, Mark, or
No.
just commercial?
there's no disclosure
For homes?
for homes, wish there was,
They talked about it, but. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
I don't
did.
think
they
they've
nice
ever
that they
adopted
started
it.
doing it, but.
Well, and if it goes by square footage, anything that we have in business right now in the township is
Well,
pretty small.
They'd all be exempt anyhow.
Right, but I
Can't be
mean,
Any new.
anything that new came in,
But
if it
that's-
was,
That's all planned, when
Right.
big things come in, they already know that.
right,
And it lowers their insurance rating, and when personal, individual building, when they're sprinkled, all those things happen. When they have alarm system, it just gets us out of the 1960s, when
Well,
we
it
just
helps
keep
everybody.
doing things, but there's codes, there's way better ways to do things. And to lower the township ISO rating, which will help everybody on their insurance. house
and I don't
insurance.
see not adopting this. Why should we try
I think
it?
you need to get it though in its entirety.
Right,
This is-
exactly.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
just a
Mark.
summary.
So
This
you
is
can
just
look
a
it over,
summary,
because
right?
then it needs to be posted,
Okay,
but
so
then when
we're
it's
gonna table
posted in the
that to
paper,
July?
I know the last time we posted one, I don't think we have to post every word of it, I think you could do a synopsis
Summary.
of it, a summary, instead of doing like 2 or 3 pages, which costs us $1,200, some goofy number.
Yeah.
But something like that.
But to walk you through the
Well,
process.
there's almost every township has, who has, who are a little bit progressive.
Yeah.
Are starting to show growth, is starting to show things, do that, when you get Upper Peninsula, obviously, when there's 6 houses in a township, they don't care, but when you start to get municipal things going on, you need to have those things.
No, and I agree with you. If it lowers your insurance rate and everybody in the township insurance rate, it's certainly well worth the.
I know it takes a while to get it, for you guys to say, let's go ahead with it, to review it, there's review time, and publication time, and there's another review time, it all takes time, that's how I want to get it started.
There's 4 processes, the date you introduce it, the date you publish it, the date you adopt it after the introduction, and the date you publish it after the adoption, and the date that you publish it after the adoption is the effective date on it. So what we'll do is we'll get the,
Because I'll get a copy or put it in all your boxes if you want, so you guys can review it, I'll make a copy and tell you, so next month, then you guys could
Then we
see
can
what you
make a
want to do,
decision.
whether you want to proceed with the process. So you can look it over and.
yeah, that sounds good to me.
Do you know when Wood Township's next meeting is, Mark? We have, it was the 20th last month, and they were going to approve the contract, and they didn't even bring it up, I don't think.
Yeah, that's what I'll take care of. We've already said it.
They said it here? We've got it?
I talked to them, and they sent they're gonna approve the contract.
Well, we don't have it yet.
We don't have it yet,
Right.
but they're gonna approve it at their meeting.
But they were going to approve it in June, and they didn't. That's what he said to you, he called you and told you that. I just wondered what was going on.
No,
I had left him a
I just
message.
had Jessica send the contract. She asked me to send the contract. I said,
Mike, that's the 3rd time the contract has been sent. I've sent it twice.
well, no, what I'm saying is I talked to the clerk up there
Okay,
last week. I called him to say, are you guys gonna sign the contract, or, what's going on with the contract? He said, have her send the bill, so I have the bill in my hand, and we're gonna approve it at the next board meeting,
Okay.
which is
because I had already
Wednesday or a
sent
week from
that.
Wednesday.
I had sent that at least twice to them.
Well, I know, but.
But I just wondered what was going on. I hadn't heard anything. We don't have a contract again. But anyway, okay, good.
Okay. Supervisors report. As the board all knows, that we're going to be hosting the St. Clair County MTA summer meeting here on Thursday at 11:30. It's going to be a luncheon meeting, and I think there's about 27 people coming from the countywide. And then tomorrow night, and I'm sorry about this whole deal, this ORV ordinance meeting. They had one today at 4 o'clock, but we just got the thing this morning. And but there's also one going to be, if anybody's interested. I put a copy of that. I have a copy of that ordinance, the ordinance in its completion here, and if any board member wants a copy of it, I'll be glad to give it to them. I'm going down to the meeting tomorrow night. It's at 6 o'clock at the Dodge building, at the county building, so if anybody wants to go, just let me know. They can go with me or whatever. So, clerk's report.
Actually, Mike, I was going to talk about the township hosting the MTA quarterly thing. We do have, I don't want to get into a lengthy discussion about this, but we do need to decide whether we're going to pursue a noise ordinance, what we need to do. We have a big complaint on Butternut. It's just going on and on. The person gets told by the county sheriff's department that we don't have a noise ordinance, so they won't answer to the call, which is ridiculous because we've had that answer before, and that's not necessarily true. I think they have to. If it's a nuisance or there's whatever. What do we want to do about that?
Well, I do have Mike reviewing what we do have as far as noise goes. He's reviewing that. He's going to let me know, either sometime this week.
But even then,
But,
before we look at
I think we
that,
discussed this before with the planning commission, and the planning commission really kind of, well, I guess you could speak for the planning commission.
I felt that it was covered somewhere else.
Yeah, we had Tim Dowland up here,
Right.
and he said that they would,
But his deputies don't necessarily
well, then I
answer.
guess we need to get the whole Tim Dowland again.
I think so. Should we invite him to come here, or?
Invite him or just talk to him and ask them why they're not doing it.
And that's been the case. I mean, we
Well,
had to have Dan Lane up here.
Don't
for
say
the
they're
same
not
thing.
doing it because they never called the sheriff's department. And
These people didn't, but other people have.
This morning, that you need to call the sheriff's department. If you have what she described was going on the beach and stuff like that, then you need to call the sheriff's department because there's more than just noise involved in it. There's profanity and all kinds of stuff going on down there at the beach, and drinking and underage drinking, and if that's going on, then they need to call the sheriff's department. We can't certainly do anything about it.
At the park, it's down on Butternut.
It's on Butternut,
Right.
yeah.
It's not on our property.
No.
Well, no, but actually, and I
Well,
don't
I mean,
think
there's
there's a problem.
ordinances for that. I mean, number one, if it's after, was it 10 o'clock or 11? I don't know.
I think it's, I want to say 11.
I think it's
Might be
11
10.
o'clock.
I think it's,
Sign down there. Yeah.
there is a sign.
Oh,
You
at
just
the
have
park,
to
at
look
the
at
park,
it.
you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So that takes care of noise after 10 o'clock.
In the park.
But that's at the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's
When
not,
they- when they
that's
rent
not
the-
on-
When they rent the
well,
places out on Butternut,
This is a
then it's
party that's
down-
going on till 2:30, 3
These
o'clock.
are-
in the morning,
these are actually
you know.
The other is covered under
They're
state
drinking
laws.
and carrying
It
on.
is?
Yes,
That was-
and they just need to enforce it. They don't enforce them. They want to push it back to
Because
the
of the beach?
townships. Yeah.
Well, I'll
It's what-
call Tim. I'll
what-
call
what
Tim
is
and
that?
talk to him.
There's state ordinances for,
That's what I think too.
there is.
Yeah,
You can't start working before, 7 in the morning, I think it is.
right. Well, they've also cut a hole in the fence and so that they can park in the park.
In our fence?
Yeah,
Well, we need to get it
and
repaired.
it's wired back.
Yeah, we need to go down there. We need to go down there and wire it back. together.
Right,
Then if
you
they cut
know,
it
where
again,
the
then
parties
they
are
charge
being
them
held,
for
and they
destruction
park
of
in there
property.
and can walk through to the party.
Just, I guess if we can bring this up, and I should have brought it up in my thing, I did take a drive down there today to look.
Oh, okay.
For the whole, but we need to do something about the brush and stuff along that fence line. It's getting really overgrown.
That was actually one of the things I was gonna.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
well, let's
also-
do that.
Oh, no, that's fine, we talk over in the house. Don't care.
No,
No, you're basically talking along Butternut.
a lot of,
My concern is Park Drive. You can't drive down there with a fire truck.
I know.
Yeah, did you?
Like, I drive down with my pickup, and
Have
we
you
scratch it
ever
all up.
looked at that? Well, it's terrible.
But my thought
Oh,
was,
absolutely.
There are no dwellings on Park Drive, is the only good thing about it. They're all accessible from Birch Drive.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing good about that. There's basically a minivan can fit on Park Drive.
Well, I think it's,
But-
you know, I'm concerned about the overgrowth there on.
well, and here, my thought is, I know last year, the state park had people that cleaned all the fence there at the picnic area along the lake shore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They cleaned that all the, I mean, I'm sure it was community service,
Any service.
and I don't know.
I'll get hold of them and see if we can get them to do theirs along there.
Be the
You got one?
cheapest way to get it done.
Oh,
Well, I said, they'll do that, that's what they do.
yeah.
Just thank them for drinking and driving and all that
Right.
stuff. And
We,
when they're working, that'll teach them maybe not.
sometimes they don't show up, but, you know, it's a good thing.
Well, that's their problem, that's their,
No, I mean, the whole group. We've checked them before, but it's worth a try, for sure.
they send a supervisor, I think, wouldn't they, don't they?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's somebody out there.
Yep.
We haven't done it in quite a while, but.
No, we haven't.
Carolyn, anything else?
No, thanks, Mike.
Okay, Cindy?
Undo Jody.
That's
Yeah,
why I
let's
don't
try
have anything.
treasurer.
Jody?
No,
I'm sorry. Our treasurer, very important guy, and
no, I don't have anything.
missing you. Not a thing? Okay. Cindy?
Two things. The benches. Is the library one here yet?
Yes, it's right there. I
Just
called
Oh.
Nicole,
right there.
and the people want to put it together themselves, and there it sits. So, yes,
They're putting it together?
yes, they said.
Are they installing it too? or-
The only problem is he's in Wisconsin, so I don't know about installation. I'll have to find out about that. I can't
Oh.
get anybody to call me back.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, what else?
And the one on the
Bike truck.
bike trail.
Yep,
That's
Yeah.
here. Is it?
It's here.
Yeah,
It's here, but it's
been
it's
not
here.
all
in.
together.
And the other
In
thing
a safe
is,
place.
well, the safe place is on it. Actually,
You know, when you're getting it done for nothing, it's hard to
I
press
know.
these guys into service.
but I have to say, the other day, Mark, there were two people sitting on your bench over here.
Yeah,
And I don't usually see people sitting
I
there.
don't either.
I see them quite often.
Do you?
Usually it's at night when they get up from work, they'll sit and put their skates on or put their running shoes on or whatever.
But they were using it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, when we went on the road trip, and Jack talked about the cracks on State, and whatever the process is that
Philip.
they do with them. And I know we can't do it all at once, but I think we should look into getting it started. If we still have road money.
Correct.
So we haven't had a lot of the work finished yet, so I don't know what we are going to hit left. Where would you start?
Right here and work our way.
Here, where is here?
The new part of State Road
Oh.
from Birch up
It's
to
already got some
Harris,
pretty big cracks?
there's a lot of cracks.
Hmm.
I mean, it gets a lot of wear. And this winter, we had,
I think they just do that at a per mile price, don't they?
Mhm.
I think that's what.
I think so.
that's what he said, and I just,
Did we go after that?
No,
Look, man,
we can get a price on it, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know we can't do all the way,
No.
but it needs to get started or we'll be having a bad road again then.
Well, we need to look at
Speaking of
Norman,
bad
there's a
roads,
lot
yeah.
of them we need to look at and see where,
We put a barrel back over there on Washington. I don't know when they're gonna.
tomorrow. You didn't get the note? Okay. Jack called today, you were gone, and they're gonna put a temporary fix on it
they
tomorrow.
already did.
Okay,
They
it's
put
was-
coal patch on it. So the
Today,
company.
was it done today?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Somebody put a barrel out there last Thursday. I mean, I mentioned it 3 weeks ago.
yeah.
Um,
They're gonna get it done
So
as
is
soon as
the
they can,
county-
it sounds like they're,
Is the county doing that then?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to look at just hiring that out, you know.
Okay, sounds good, because it takes too long.
Yeah,
They're sure to help apparently, because it's taking a long time to get things done, but anyway.
Those were my two things.
Okay,
Great.
thank you. Bill?
the only other thing is, we had a leak over at the memorial in the sprinkler system. Mark texted me the other day, and I talked to Chuck, told him to just fix it, so I think it's just one of those, I don't know if it was the head or what it was, I
Well,
talked to him.
Jody came in the other day and said it wasn't even on. Is that, was it,
I
because it had a leak, you guys
I
shut it
think you
off?
shut it off, didn't you?
No, I stopped because Cindy was planning on Friday.
Uh-huh.
Somebody shut it off, 'cause I checked.
So I asked her, I says, the water, and she said it got turned on, because I was gonna turn on for her.
Mhm.
She said, no, it was on. Then when I was walking back to my truck, I seen a hole by the one
Oh,
sprinkler
boy.
head, knowing there's a busted pipe below that one sprinkler head. So that's why I texted Al to let Chuck know that there was a hole by the Edison pole with the
So you
bad
did?
sprinkler head there.
Yeah, he said he'd take care of it.
Okay, is that it?
She said something about it, I don't know.
Every time I get
Okay,
there, just like.
Extended public comment. Is there any?
Two quick things. Harris Road has a ton of cracks in it too. The new one, and I'm sure it's from the winter, but, and also, is there a new CD for the codified ordinance book? What's being sold in the office for the ordinance,
It
the
shouldn't,
disc?
it shouldn't be the
Shouldn't be.
It's
codified.
not the new one, so
Oh.
it's still the old one?
We're not
Which
using-
is really all that's in the new one.
It's just in a different...
It's just in a different written form,
okay.
right?
All right, you can get the, there's a CD for the ordinances
Oh, okay.
that you can buy at the office for $4. It's also on my website, if you can pop it up
Okay.
and search through it.
Get your website up.
That's all, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Okay, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
No.
We gotta go
I gotta
into,
go and do.
No, I mean, we'll
go into.
go into a closed session
Yeah.
at 8:02.
8:01, too?
So thank you people for coming.
No, we need a.